Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and once again, thank you for stopping by. So we're going to do a little bit of work on my super trick Hotshot. I'll stick a link in the video to the first video I did on this, showing you all the superb trick bits it's got on it. But I want to do something different. It needs a little bit some bats doing to it. And in that last video, I asked in the comments what you guys thought to my ideas, because I was going to paint all the framework and whatever. So I've kind of fought against that for now, but I may well sort of revisit that in the future. But what I want to do in this video is the rear shock drop is way too much. So if I just lift that up, you see how far those wheels are, see how far they're hanging down. So obviously that's absolutely killing the drive shafts and the drive cups. So I don't want to run it like that. So I've got some sort of plastic and rubber spacers, and I think I'm gonna have to go into, I'm gonna have to take the shocks off and put probably at least 10mm of spacing in there to stop that happening. So that's going to be the first job. We've also got a brand new set of tyres to fit on it, which are the Super Spikes, Tamiya Super Grippers that come on the Super Shot. Went for them specially because they have the tyre writing all the way around as these do, because these are the oval blocks, but these are really worn. So we'll get them on the new wheels and we'll get the tyre writing done in white, and I think that's going to look superb. I've dug out a couple of decals that I had. Now, the wing decal is off centre. Now I know that is how Tamiya said to do it, that is proper box art. Unfortunately, my OCD cannot cope with that. I've never been able to do that on the Hotshot. So because I've had a few Hotshots in the past, I dug out an old decal, brand new wing decal to do. So we're going to whip this one off and we're going to put this one in the centre. And I'll also change the screws. I think, well, I'll have a look if I've got some sort of better screws to put on. So we'll fix that. What I also want to do, just while we're talking, what I also want to do is I want to carbon wrap the alloy roof. So we used this on the Honda NSX shell we had, and I really liked it. And I think to carbon wrap that, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to leave the black spotlights on, and I think that'll just, we can always take it off if it doesn't work, that's not a problem, but I honestly do think that's going to look superb. Because I'm taking the roof off, I've got to cut these 4 tie wraps. I'm going to try see if I can get the driver figure out, because that's just all black at the moment and it needs some colour in there so you can look through the netting. So it needs to be white in my opinion. So obviously it's all black, so we'll do all this body white. I have, when I was looking through the Hotshot stickers, I did have the seatbelt decals for it. Once it's out, we'll have a look and see if that's worth sticking them on. If not, we'll just paint it. I'm just thinking black and white, full driver, full helmet, all white, flesh. Maybe not even do black rim, just do the flesh colour and leave it at that, just so when you look at it, it has got some colour in there. And then we'll put the carbon wrapped roof back on. And I think that's it. I think if we get all those little jobs done, then this will be a step closer to getting it out and running. The next job after that, there's something wrong with the rear gearbox, so I have to give it a full strip. But I just thought in this video, because the tyres are here and what have you, I can just do these little basics, and it's kind of a step in the right direction, if that makes sense. So, as always guys, let's get cracking. So just to give you a quick close-up of this shock problem we have, that's roughly set where I kind of want the car to sit. Now just watch how much the shocks move as I lift the back end up. Holy crap. And obviously you can see the drive shaft, it's actually popping out there because of the angle. Obviously we can drop it like 10mm, so that's an absolute must. Right, so I need to start with the painting really, because that's going to be the slowest part. So obviously I've taken the roof out, I've taken the 2 roof struts out also, and obviously I should have realised when I was talking at the beginning, it's not the actual Hotshot driver. It was just stuck down inside on this plate, which is awesome. So it's going to be very easy to paint, so I need to give it a good wash. I will go over the flesh colour again, maybe just put a colour. As I say, I want all his bodysuit white. I'll leave the base black, I'll try paint round those black seat belts and silver buckles. We'll whiz the helmet off, and we'll do that in white as well. I'm also thinking to take the netting out, just to be a little bit different. I've never been a big lover of a netting. The look itself is great, but the tie wraps involved to do it always gets a little bit messy. So what I'm thinking is just to sort of put a little bit more emphasis on the driver inside. I'm going to cut the tie wraps off and not have the netting. Again, if it doesn't work at the end of it, I can always put the netting in at a later date. So I think the first thing before we start and having a look at those shocks is let's get this cleaned up and start getting some paint on it. Right, that's the driver painted. I think it's pretty cool. It's I only did one coat on his body because the black was coming through, which I liked. A couple of coats on the helmet just to make it a little bit whiter. Unfortunately, his helmet was glued to the body, so when I took the screw out, I couldn't budge it. I didn't want to break it, so I had to paint around it. So I couldn't get into all the bits, but it's certainly good enough for what I want. So I'll snip the tie wraps out of here, and I'll take the netting out, and then we'll get the driver. I'll clean this section up because it's full of Australian dust, and then we'll get him stuck in the right position, and I'll get the beams back on, and let's see what it looks like in position. Just before I do that, because I couldn't show you it on the last video because I didn't have it apart like this, look at that prop shaft. Have you ever seen anything like that? That is absolutely beautiful. So you've got universal joint at both ends going into each gearbox. That is a torque splitter, an adjustable torque splitter, and then just under this plate here there's another section which is like a one-way bearing. So it's a one-way adjustable torque splitter prop shaft. That's trick, isn't it? Right, let's get this driver in. Well, that was more of a mission than I expected. God knows how it was in before I messed around with it. The issue I had was, because it's obviously not the correct driver, it sits a little bit too high for the roof. So when it's actually more forward and that second roof bar is going across, the helmet was really pushing on the roof. So I've messed around with it loads, try to stick it down in different places. I'm a little bit, you're not really spoilt for choice in the spaces I've got. So I've got it in that position, and I've done away with that second bar, which is not a real big issue once this is tie wrapped on. But now that sits flat, and we've got the driver in. So I think that looks pretty cool. So next up, what I'll do is we'll carbon wrap this roof just to see if that's going to work, which means I was going to say I'm going to have to take that decal off, but maybe I won't. I'll leave it on because that's actually a vintage old decal. So maybe I'll just clean this up and then leave it on and then wrap it, and if it doesn't work, at least we can take the wrap off and hopefully it won't lift that. But I do think the carbon roof's going to work on it, but we will see. Just to show you how I'm doing the roof, obviously I've bought this big long sheet of carbon wrap, very cheap off eBay. There's some on the backing paper, there's a grid so you can line it up to get it sort of straight. So obviously I've just fastened it down on the flat bits, and what I'm going to do now is cut these at different angles out and start folding it over just like I've done on that one side. It looks pretty sharp. Anyway, what I'll do now is I'll do the other corners and see what it looks like. So that's it wrapped. Looks pretty cool. As I say, I just folded it on the inside and it all seems to be sticking down nicely. That might look pretty cool. Probably difficult to say until I've got it sort of tie wrapped on and the body shell on and what have you. But yeah, I mean, for now I'm happy with that. The only downside is, as I said, because I left that decal on and this wrap's pretty thin, you can see the outline of the decal. So that might be something. Obviously, well, it's a bit of a pain because I don't want to take that decal off just yet until I'm 100% happy with it. But yeah, I'll just have to live with that for now. It's something I can always revisit, and this does have to be taken apart again at some point. So I'll get a knife and I'll put the holes, the 4 holes, and we'll get some tie wraps. I've only got clear tie wraps. I could really do with black ones, but I don't have any. But I'm gonna have a look anyway. So let's do that next. Right, so that's the roof on. What I ended up doing was actually reversing it 180 degrees, which you can do. And the reason I did that was the correct way around. It's longer at the front, and because the driver's sitting higher, you we're not going to be able to see this properly. You can kind of see it now. You can see how if it was the other way around, this was lower, and I just thought it just didn't quite look right. As I say, I'll have to change the tyre wraps. I need to find some black ones from somewhere, but I don't have any. But I think the carbon, I think the effect looks okay. And obviously that driver figure without the netting is going to brighten that car up slightly. So anyway, wasted enough time on that bit. So next up is... So I've whipped this shock off, drained the oil, stripped it apart, and I put this spacer in there. I was thinking it might be too big, but just look at the difference. I'll just lift this up so you can see properly. Look at the difference in that. It's incredible, isn't it? So there's no oil in this. I've got to whip it back off now and do it properly. But there's no... Now that spacer's in, it's locking out there, which in my opinion it needs to do, and it's still got loads of movement. All that was just wasted, wasn't it? Look at that. So yeah, I think that's going to be better. So what I'll do now, I'll whiz this shock back off, we'll fill it with oil, and then we'll do the other side, and then probably what we're better off doing is banging the wheels and banging the wheels back on just to make sure that stance is right. But my gut feeling is that's way better already. Right, let's do that. Right, that's those rear shocks done, and that is so much better, I can't tell you. Excuse me, the stance looks spot on as well, which is good because it saved me having to cut the spacers. So I kind of guessed that first time round. The slightly further, you can see the chassis line on the table, it's slightly sitting down, so I probably could make some more adjustment on these front shocks just to make that a little bit harder, so it lifts the car up more, but it doesn't need it. And that rear end, oh, it's so much better. And obviously now we can lift it up with doing no damage to those drive shafts or cups. Something very wrong with this gearbox, this rear gearbox. I think it's a diff. Something, oh, it's crunchy as hell. Anyway, that's for another video. But yeah, I think that's now. I was just looking at that, guys. That carbon roof's looking pretty fine, isn't it? Just with the wing back on and what have you. That is looking pretty cool. So next up now is I'll whiz these tyres off. We'll get the new super spikes on, and then we'll get the tyre writing done on them, and then we'll put the body back on it and see what it's looking like. It's a badass car, this one, isn't it? So that's the new shoes, guys. Super gripper spikes. As you can see, I went for these because I loved the... I'm not a massive fan of the oval block tyre, but I do like the writing all the way around. But I love that tread so much more. It's beefier looking. But again, you get all that side writing to fill in, which we're going to do. So we'll get these on the wheels and then we'll get that done. Right, and finally that's the tyre writing done. That took ages. I made loads of mistakes. They've had 2 coats now and I've gone round with a craft knife, but probably need to go around again at some point, but now I need to let it harden. They don't look too bad though. So I'll let them dry and then we'll put the car back together, see what it looks like. Ta-da! How good does that look? I don't even want to put the wing and shell on. Oh my god! That looks badass, doesn't it? I think the carbon roof, obviously we won't know until I finish it, but I think the carbon roof and painted driver has made a hell of a difference. And then those new set of boots on it with a fresh tyre writing. I've adjusted the camber, sorry, the towing, just to so it sits right when it's down. It's just turned. Oh wow, I'm liking that. Bloody hell. Right, let's bang the its claws on and see what the finished product looks like. So there we have it. Carbon roof definitely works. Driver figure, although you can't see from that angle, it has brightened it up. And I think the new wheels look really good. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a success. I'm just really happy now I've got the them shocks sorted out, because this is getting closer now to obviously I've got to strip the rear gearboxes and stuff, but it's getting closer to so I can actually get it running, because that's what it's all about, isn't it, guys? Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. Well, guys, what do you think? That seems to have taken hours, and I've really not got much done. Carbon wrapped a roof, we sorted the rear shocks out, new tyres, and painted the driver figure. That's taken hours. I've got a question for you guys. Obviously, when you saw it without the body and wing on, it looked really badass, didn't it? Really like dark, mean, stealthy. I'm just wondering now, does this need a new body and wing done in black? What do you think? I think it does. I just think, obviously this body and wing's stunning, I love it, but I just wonder, because of how it looks when you take that off, it looks really badass, and I'm just wondering, I could even do the JG dart shell I did again, where it's wider, where it comes out wider here, and put a completely different wing on it, something big, sort of in your face. I don't know what, I'm thinking off the top of my head, egress, something like that, manta ray, that kind of wing, where it's got a lot of depth to it. Whether it'll fit on there and look right or not, I don't know. We might have to put some special wing mounts on it, but I just think just bulk that wing up, and maybe just a standard Hotshot body, but I think it needs to be black with maybe gold, silver stickers. Don't know. I mean, we can get the full Hotshot livery done, the decal sheet done in any colours we want. So if you've managed to watch to the end, this is what I really want help with. Give me some ideas. Should we now make this like the stealth Hotshot? That's kind of where I am with it now. Anyway, leave that in the comments if you're still watching, guys. It'd be much appreciated. So, once again, thanks so much for watching. It is much appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to support us. And if you do that, smash that notification bell for our weekly videos. And as always, guys, happy arseeing.